Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
And then the let's see. I guess the recording's going on still, so that'll go. I don't know how much goes to YouTube, if the whole recording goes to YouTube or whatnot. But I had my little hat on, so that didn't do any favors for my hair. This one, but it's a cool hat that markets itself by being inside out. I think that's pretty awesome. So anyway, so there's this. Let's see if make sure we're have any sound going through this bad boy. So what I want to do, can you hear me okay? Wait, I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I can hear you fine.
Where's my output? Oh, my output changed again. Because I was going to do a video recording. I'm just going to close this for now. And then I want to see if my sound is coming through on the video. Am I live? Yes, the recording is going on still, so that'll go. I don't know how much goes to YouTube, if the whole recording goes to YouTube or whatnot. But I had there we go. So, all right, we're broadcasting live. And look, the production value of this content, if anybody ever watches these videos, awesome. But really, what's that?
It's top notch. I don't know what you're talking about.
So let's go over the exam overview, right? Let's look at what that means. The Salesforce fundamentals. I guess, let's see what the exam overview is going to look like. I mean, I took the exam, but when you go to the exam overview, let's see, get ready, interactive study tools. So first and foremost, I'm going to get the exam guide. That's going to be a download, I believe. Exam outline. All right, so Salesforce fundamentals. This is good, right? To understand it from this point of view is good. Like, so describe the capabilities of the core objects in the Salesforce schema. Given a scenario, what are the boundaries of declarative, customization, and the use cases for programmatic, and identify common scenarios for extending an org using the App Exchange. All right, so the core capabilities, of the core objects in the Salesforce schema, I would say when you so first of all, what do you think that means? I'm putting you on the line, Patrick, because you're the only one here. And I'm happy to answer the question too. But tell me what you think that means.
Can you go back to the question?
Yeah. The core
capabilities of the core CRM objects. Well, the main capabilities standard, I would say is, leads, opportunities, contacts, accounts,
cases, right?
Cases.
And if you go a little bit deeper to the professional edition, then you've got.
I guess I just named the core objects, but
the capabilities. No, you did, and that, by the way, is you're right. Like that's so right. So the standard Salesforce objects come. You can't. So when you buy the full Salesforce license versus buying just a Force.com license, you know the difference between the two?
No.
Okay. So you know how you build a custom object and you build everything around that custom object, the label, the tab, the apps, everything you got to build. If you buy a Force.com license, you're not getting any of the standard objects. You're just getting the ability to create everything from scratch.
Okay.
And it's like $50 a month per user. Right? So if you don't mind building everything from scratch, or a lot of times what people do is they buy maybe there might even be somebody who's done that and built out an app completely
on GitHub.
Yeah, like something like that, right? I'm not even sure how GitHub I know GitHub is like a app exchange for developers, right? Like you get smaller solutions or even big solutions that somebody posts out there. Is that right? How do you, or
it's just where people post open source projects that they work on.
Right. So, right. So if you buy Service Cloud, you get the core objects that just relate to service. If you buy Sales Cloud, you get the core objects just relate to sales, which is leads, campaigns, contacts, opportunities, and of course accounts. But if you buy the Salesforce license, you also get cases, right? And you get all of those pre-built tools that have evolved over the last 2 decades on the Salesforce platform. So understanding what standard means and what it does is, I think, fundamental for all like Salesforce users. And at different levels, it applies differently, but the standard means, and I've seen people jack this up, right? And I love talking about a buddy of mine's company because he let these 2 knuckleheads control sales and then control Salesforce for years. So about a year and a half ago, he brought me in, and just when I became a partner, actually, September of 19, I just gotten approved to be a partner. I was excited about helping people with Salesforce, and he was actually my first client and my first failure to enroll these 2 employees of his who had jacked it up. I'll tell you what they did. They didn't understand what an opportunity was, but they did understand what a bid was. Now, they had the professional edition, which has quotes built right in. So the husband and wife pair renamed opportunities to bids. And then they created a bunch of date fields on the opportunity record that demonstrated their lack of knowledge of the basic core capabilities. I have videos I should probably show of what they did, because if you don't understand the basic schema of Salesforce, what happens is you end up using, what you know about your business, which is fine, I'm going to go into the object manager for a second. So, and we'll show all this here. So they use the close date. When I talked to the wife and I said, well, I noticed there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of bids with a close date in the past. She says, how does that matter? I'm like, well, that's the date you expect them to make a decision. Like, well, we don't know when they're going to do that. I'm like, well, you kind of do, don't you? Like, if you're in sales, and I think you said it in the last couple of meetings we had, right? Like, there's this. I was shocked. That was September of 19 was the first time I'd ever heard somebody didn't understand what the close date was. So the close date in an opportunity is the T in a SMART goal. Have you ever heard of a SMART goal?
Yes.
Right? So a SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, or actionable. It depends on who's making up the SMART acronym, because I've seen a bunch of them. R is either reachable or relevant or
realistic,
those kind of things, right? So and then T has a time limit, right? So T is the deadline for your goal. Really, if you think about what a SMART goal is, how it relates to an opportunity is exactly how it's supposed to be. Let me go. I'm actually going to go here and show. So what they had done is they had taken the opportunity object, renamed it to bid, and then used that with all these other dates to track when the law firm was going to need their services for a class action lawsuit, right? And they do all the administrative BS. So the law firm doesn't have to, because not every law firm does class action lawsuits all the time. So when you create an opportunity, And here we have some, I believe there's some left. I have any that are open still. All mine are closed one because I'm awesome. When you have an opportunity, it is exactly that. It's a very clear project, right? And it's a project that develops over time through a conversation you're having with somebody in sales. So in this one, this is a prospecting. So you're estimating. So here's the thing I try to teach people about the sales process, and salespeople especially, is that when you identify an opportunity, Patrick, I want to sell you my consultant training
course
program, my course, right? And it's a work study course, right? And I'm going to call it, look, I'm going to call it the consultant training program, right? And I'm going to assume that's going to take me, today's the 30th, right? So I'm going to say that, look, I've got a campaign set up in my marketing platform that is going to follow up with this opportunity, and it typically takes somewhere. We do a 3-week introduction, a 3-week trial, and then a week follow up. WEEK, not WEAK. So today, today's the 30th. So I'm going to say, look, by Friday the 26th, you're going to make a decision, and the amount of that. And I'm going to put you in there as a new account. I'm going to say right? Martin household, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to create a new account, new business. I could have a new campaign called my 20. It's a I even have this is going to be a referral. It's a PR campaign for social media. It's in progress. I started it January 1st. The end date of this campaign is going to be March 5th because we're going to start the class, blah, 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 right? It's all brand new. I'm just doing it on the fly, right? So I'm just adding all this information, and I'm going to say it's $2,500. Fair enough, right? The opportunities. Oh, this is the campaign. So I got no approval. It's not approved yet. My lead source was word of mouth is fine. My next step, I don't need that. My next, let's see, description, the work study. With a free. Right, that's my description, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm enrolling you in my little opportunity. So an opportunity is a SMART goal. It's specific. I know who I'm talking to, right? The account, the contacts, the vendors, the competitors, the internal people involved. I know what we're talking about, right? The opportunity name and the description kind of tell me what we're having a conversation about. I know how much and by when, right? I know the scope of the project, hold on yours, right? So the idea, I don't even have my path created in this thing yet. And we did path yesterday, right? We were talking about the path yesterday,
yes.
Privately, and how to set up the path, not the patch. The path is about, like, there's three. Is there just three tools built in to do on-demand training all the time in your organization? Do you know what they are?
Path, help text.
Go ahead.
I kind of want to say the sales process, but I don't think that's it. I don't know what the third one is. Well, I might know it, but I can't think of it.
So the third one is a thing called in-app guidance.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's that's on the admin test.
Is it now?
Well, they ask about it.
Yeah. So the idea of the path, and we talked about this yesterday, but I'm recording it now because I think it's so valuable. The idea of the path is that, hold on, let's see something here. Is that I take my vitamins this morning, not really real vitamins, my medicine vitamins. Let me just do that. Why split it when you can take the whole thing?
Sometimes I can't remember what was actually on the test and what was just in the focus on force questions.
Yeah, and that's a little challenging in that regard. And that's one of the problems with brain dumps. But the idea of a sales process is this. Okay, of qualified, and I'm using you as the opportunity, right? You're qualified, you're interested, you're somebody who wants to learn more about Salesforce, right?
Except
and
I'm
you want
broke.
to make money doing it. What's that?
I said, except I'm broke.
Well, right. Well, that's fine. That's the problem I have to overcome in the marketplace, right? If I'm going to make money doing this, then I got to charge you. And if you're broke trying to learn this, we got to come to some kind of agreement on how this is going to work, right? So I'm in the prospecting stage, right? So the couple things I want to know is, yeah, I might need to know I need to know the basics about you, right? I might need to know, I might not have an idea of the close date yet. And that's fine. I might make the assumption, so there's what you know when you start the project. And it's this analyzing this for a customer as a consultant. So this is like your first level of consultant training, right? The question I would ask is, what is your current sales cycle? Like, how long does it take from the time you meet a customer to the time you sell meet a prospect to the time you sell them? And the answer, most times, most people wouldn't know. They don't even know. Put next step in there just in case. They wouldn't even they don't even know. They'll give you a hunch. It takes about 30 days. Actually, I'll use my dinosaur example. And when I mean by dinosaur, I mean the guys who sell pianos and they use Salesforce and they have the professional edition and they only use leads. They sell leads. They do not convert to opportunities. Okay. But he knows his sales cycle really well. I sell him within 2 weeks. I sell them within 48 hours or 2 years. Like when they hit my store or my email or my phone, they're either buying within 48 hours or 2 years. It's either, they solve the murder right away, like 48 hours, the first 48, or it's a cold case file. That's it. And his strategy is to just beat everybody up with the same email every 2 weeks. We got an inventory. We got a sale. We bought somebody's inventory. We got a sale. Come buy a cheap piano. We're a luxury item. Come buy a cheap piano. We have a discount available. Pianos only for rich people. We got a discount. Like he does that every 2 weeks. And every 2 weeks, 3 or 4 people pop and go, oh yeah, I want a piano. And they come in.
So no segmentation, nothing. Just
everybody gets the same damn email. And believe me, I've tried, but I don't, for whatever reason, I failed in that regard. So now a process is really like a recipe or an assembly line, right? So a sales process reflects what data do I need to collect at this stage that let me know I've got enough information to go to the next stage. And then the guidance for success is really explaining that to say you're this stage initial conversations in the sales process. Your job establish is to verify that the lead that was converted, verify that the lead right? You're answering like I'm giving guidance, right? And then so I can underline that, make it bold. Are they a true prospect, right? And confirm the fields on the left to right, because in this process left, right, is the and you might even have a field that you got to put that in there, right? What uh, and this is the I think the like the next step field in the opportunity is really to me one of the most overlooked fields that people don't understand what the next step field is for. They think it's for the next step, and it's really for the next step that's not your next step, because the um I'm gonna put this let's see, I'll leave it there, can I do that? There we go. So it's the next step field is really when you if you're going to use the next step field, it should not be the natural next step. It should not be the planned next step. It should not be the habitual next step. It should be the odd next step. Right? It's wait a minute, it's not the task, it's not the event, it's not the, uh it's a different out of the ordinary next step. Does that make sense? Not the standard, like because otherwise you don't need the next step field, right?
I'll buy your program, but you need to send me 6 dozen boxes of chocolates first.
Yeah, they need to taste the brownie before they buy it, or right, they need a sample of something that most like they want a sample training sent to them before they want to move on to the next step. It's the barrier, right? So the next steps are the another way to look at them is, and I just made this up. It's what's the barrier? It's overcoming what has to happen. What has to happen? What do you have to do? So the steps in your sales process should be predefined, pre-planned, predetermined, right? And in evolution, like you're evolving these things on a regular, consistent basis, right? Because that's what the feedback and the learning, and that's where that's where you learn how to develop record types, whole 9 yards, right? So what are the behaviors and outcomes that I'm looking for? The behavior should be indicated in guidance for success, and the outcome should be at least, if not more, than the 5 fields you need to fill out or confirm data on. And every step of the process, there should be something that should be blank, right? So in qualification, like in prospecting, I need to confirm the account name, adjust the opportunity name from what it was to some like reflecting that I had a conversation, that they're moving toward coaching versus a consulting versus a training, like for me. And then describe what are you describing? Description, it should be like, why are you having the conversation to do something that's going to take us all this time and effort to get to where you're going to up $2,500 out of your pocket? Like, you're going to see the value because I'm going to identify the pain that you're having by going through your process for free, right? And then I'm going to collect as much information about your pain and your situation that I can in this initial conversation, so that you're ready to move on to the next conversation. You, the salesman, and you, the customer. I'm not selling you. I'm uncovering. I'm taking your homemade bandage off when you get to the ER. I want to look at the wound you have. I want to really see. I got to start knowing that situation, right? So, Patrick, for the sake of sales and technology consultants, right, and to make this as real as possible, you've been studying Salesforce on your own for how long? Hit the space bar. You can unmute yourself.
About a year.
And then how far have you come in terms of certifications and employment?
I've passed the admin certification, the Capado admin certification. I need to redo my platform app builder cert.
Right, you got to retake that test, right? What's
Yes.
Scopado? Isn't that a document company?
No, Capado is it's a better solution for development, continuous. What is it? Continuous implementation, continuous development, I think they call it. It's basically a replacement for change sets.
Oh, got it. So it's a way to manage the ongoing evolution of Salesforce instead of
Right.
using just plain Salesforce.
Yeah, it's like project management for your org development.
So is it kind of like Jira too, or is it you have to use Jira with it, or something like Jira's a pretty common?
It connects with GitHub to store basically all of your changes and all your data that's changed, and it uses user stories. So like you promote a user story you want to implement into the org, and you can combine those different user stories. So if you have like 3 different developers working on 3 different aspects of the project, they can all work on their little thing, and then they create a user story. They all promote them, and then I guess the manager would be able to choose which of those changes they want to implement and which ones they don't. And you can regress. So like it has regression built in, so you can revert back from if you make a change and you don't like it, you can change back.
Got it. Okay, cool. I did not know that about them.
But it's built right in. It's native to Salesforce. I guess it's probably kind of expensive. That might be why nobody's really using it. But
well, expensive is not, you get what you pay for, right?
I think I'd be surprised if it doesn't become more popular over the next couple of years. But I did that because I needed a quick, easy win after I failed the platform app builder test.
Gotcha.
And
Um,
I found out about it and it made sense to me. I was like, okay, well, I can pass this.
yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So far, nobody that I've told that I have it has been impressed, though. So
Right on. I hear you. So I'm gonna stop with the path for now, but this is the work you got to do. But anyway, so you got that process. So I want to start. Okay, well, and I want to know, like, at the prospecting stage. So, but your goal is to actually earn 6 figures or more, right? As a Salesforce developer, or do you want to be like a admin, or do you want to do a little bit of both? Do you want to work with customers to solve their business issues, or you just want to solve their technical requirements? What's more important to you in your goals?
for now, more admin or functional consultant.
Right. So you want to respond to, you want to fulfill whatever they've decided their business needs Salesforce to do.
Right. I prefer doing stuff than talking to people.
All right, Patrick.
Is that too
Well, good.
honest for the? Is that too honest for the
No,
training
no, no,
video?
no, 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 no. Right. So that's all perfect. Right. So,
If any recruiters are watching this that want to give me a business analyst position, I'll take it.
right. You've said it with such enthusiasm. Yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody. If I can be a business, if I can just analyze the business without talking to people, that'd be great. So let's see. I don't need description. What do I want? Oh yeah, I want to take that out.
I'm just role playing.
I understand. I got it. I'm trying to decide if the type. You know what? I'm gonna take that back out. I'm gonna put description back in. Now trying to
You
decide.
better not try to sell me some $2,500 training course later.
Totally trying to sell it, man. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'm gonna take description out, and then no, I'm gonna put description back in. Yeah, no, I definitely want to sell you that. Now, and I mean that from with I mean that from like all the. I want to sell everybody that. Just so you know, it's not just you. Um, um,
Well, I do know there's a guy who is cleaning up, it seems, selling his program for about
900.
$1,300 to $1,500.
Who is that?
Well, I'm not going to name names on a recording.
Oh, we'll put it in the chat then. So I can
What
see
if the
it.
chat shows up?
I don't think no, not the Zoom chat won't show up.
I'll send it to you in a text.
Perfect. Wow. Oh. Nice. So is that um interesting. Um, yeah, no, that's kind of what I mean. I don't know my pricing yet, right? But that's ultimately that might be, like the market. I've seen lots of different things go down. I've got to build out I have a tool that I build out training courses that I'm going to use some of these videos for, and mainly so that's why I feel like this is very useful. But in understanding the sales process, you got to understand that this is a volleyball tournament. It's like a volleyball game or an assembly line or both, right? So at every stage of the process, there are behaviors and outcomes. I like to think of them like, um, there's work I need to do. Like they lobbed the serve to me by filling out a web form. They got called back, confirmed that they were interested to talk more or schedule a conversation with the right person, whatever it is. Now I'm in an opportunity. So now I want to confirm the information I have and then ask some questions. And if they answer those questions, I can now move to the next step. Right. And here, I don't have the fields built out, but again, I want to find out what is your pain or what is your problem that I want to see if I've got a product or service or solution for, right? And that's going to be a back and forth conversation, mostly me asking questions. And then it might be, well, my next step after qualification is to send you a quick survey, right? And now I'm waiting. So once you're done qualified, the next step is naturally going to be, well, everybody, when they go to qualification stage, I can have an automation that says, send out an email in this template that has a link to a survey. I got some questions you're going to ask. And then you go, okay, well, you filled out the survey. Then that means I've got what I need for the needs analysis stage, right? And then I can so now I've gathered that information. So my next step, once I've entered the needs analysis, is to analyze what you've given me so that I can come back and my next job is to create a value proposition, right? Start formulating the value of my solutions. So I know what your problem is now. So I've collected that data. And when I'm complete there, now it's my turn in the value proposition stage. Maybe I don't interact with the customer at all. Maybe I meet with my manager. Maybe I meet with my sales team, my engineer, pre-sales, my solution, right? We come back and say, okay, given this situation, have we encountered it in the past? That might be all internal data I need to collect. This is where I might add my product, my product, my I just work. Hey, we got it. What's going to be our unique solution to their painful problem, right? What's going to be our candy for their cramps? So now when I go to this daggum path, it'll be there a little better. So that allows me to know what there is to do next at each stage on my side and on what I'm expecting from them on their side, right? So these are the key fields. If my next step is blank, then they're following the path I've pre-designed. If my next step is something in it, then I gotta look for what's weird between this stage and the next, right? So I've got key fields. I don't have any guidance. I don't have any key fields. So I didn't build all that out. And again, it's all about the back and forth and who's doing what and who's waiting for what at each stage of the process. So that's when we customize the object or the related list. But like at the The value proposition stage, I might only have the one person I'm talking to, right? And you might say, well, how do you have like this is where validation rules come into play. I'm going to add a contact. I don't have you in there yet, I don't believe. So I think there's a setting where I could add a contact from here through the contact roles. Let me see if it's on this side. There it is. So it's under edit contact roles. I knew it was somewhere. I'm gonna add, you're not in my system yet. So this little fake system of ours. We got Patrick because I entered you weirdly, right? What's your email, Patrick? Is it Patrick231? Wait, I shouldn't do that. Anyway, I'm not gonna put that on the web. All right, just because that would be dumb for everybody. So I got
I was
Patrick.
just gonna say it's already blasted all over the place anyway.
What do you mean? Have I done it?
No, it's just been hacked and
Oh yeah.
compromised.
So you're the decision maker in my contact role, right? So I see so many companies make the mistake of allowing, like, they have Salesforce and they accept business from their sales reps without knowing who in the world they were talking to make that sale. Like, how could I, what? Like, this is, you may or may not be the decision maker. I might not have landed that. I might have gotten, let's say I might have gotten the, like you're now the primary contact, but the first person I might have gotten in touch with was, and Sally. Right, at your business, Sally might have been the first contact, the first business card, the let's call it like a business user. Let's call her that. So, this also, what I think people miss in the sales process, I don't know how we got on this subject, but I guess because we're going to get to approvals, right? We're going to get to approval process. When I'm prospecting, there's somebody I talk to at that very first stage. So I would always have a validation rule that you can't move to the next stage without a contact role on it. If the contact role is blank, how did you find this out? Did you not get the name? Like, you can't move forward in a conversation with a customer potential without collecting it. So anyway, that's the point of all of these different things. And why is my page layout so ugly? This is a weird org, right? So anyway, we were talking about the core capabilities, and look, the path is a core capability. You've got all these cool capabilities of the basic, simple, standard structure of Salesforce. And there's no, like, anyway, you there? I guess you had to go somewhere. Let me see what your chat says. Yeah, no worries. So people miss the core functionality of Salesforce because a lot of platform app builders and admins don't understand what's supposed to happen with sales. Because sales doesn't always know how to describe what's supposed to happen. But I know how to describe what's supposed to happen because I've seen how many bad decisions salespeople have made with their technology because no one told them how it's supposed to happen. So the core functionality of the CRM objects is beyond just, the standard objects themselves. There's things that are built in. And here, let me show you the standard objects in the schema itself. Let's see. I don't need asset. I don't want activity. I don't need campaign member. Not gonna do that one. So if you look at how these objects are related, if you look at what the schema builder is, Salesforce is designed around the account object. This is the, if you will, this is the base, the core of the standard objects, the account. What's connected to the account? All of these lines that you see connected, right, all relate to the account. So let's see if we can take this story a little differently. So from the account, you meet a contact, right? You meet a person that works at a company. We'll make that smaller. You meet a person that works at a company. From that person, I'm gonna bring this all the way across, see if I can, all the way across. I don't know why that. Something got highlighted. Something's weird. All right. So you meet a person at a company, and maybe that's all you had was a business card. That became a lead. Well, from there you had a conversation, you found out it was a real company, it was a real contact. Maybe you found from them, you found some other contacts. And you then opened a conversation with that contact to sell something of yours. What did you try to sell? A product, which from your products, from your list of products and services, that became linked to the opportunity. It's all part of the conversation, right? And from that opportunity, at some point, let's see what's over here. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to go back a little bit further. You started a marketing campaign that generated a lead, and that lead was converted, right? You started a marketing conversation with a campaign that generated a lead, however that lead got created, or a presence or an awareness, so that when a sales rep met somebody, it generated a lead, which you found out was qualified. So then you got a little more information from the lead, a little bit of company, a little bit of personal information, so that you then decided this is a lead we could do business with. So you convert it to records that are way more powerful, because nothing's connected to the lead. A lead simply does an import of its small bits of information and places that on the account, on the contact, and potentially the opportunity that you're now having a conversation with them about. Okay? So from that opportunity, with that account, right? At the end of the opportunity, if you decide to buy something, if they decide to buy something from you, let's just say they enter into a contract, right? From that conversation with the person at that company. That's why all these lines in the contract are connected to those other objects, right? That's what the relationship is. And from that contract, you're buying or you're deciding to get what was identified on the opportunity from your list of products and services. Once they buy that product becomes their asset, right? It becomes something they own of yours. may or may not be a hard asset, could be a serial number, could be a link, could be a physical product with that they have on site that contract is going to maintain. So if they've got a problem with all of that asset, notice they've got a problem with your product, it's going to be connected, right, to a case when they call up and say, I got a problem, I got a question, I need some help, I need some information. And that's going to go back to not just the person you sold it to, but somebody at that company who called up or emailed or went to the website. And all of the work you do in all of Salesforce is tracked through the activities that you could apply to every one of these records that occurred as a result of meeting that lead that turned into that company for these people, for these conversations, for these products in that conversation that they ended up buying, owning as an asset of yours, and then you handling any feedback, problems, or issues as cases. Right? That's the whole standard object. These are all standard objects. I haven't even gotten into quotes, which is, I didn't add quotes on there, which is the interim between, see if I got quotes. Quotes, proposals. Maybe I don't have quotes activated in this one yet. Not yet. Okay, so, maybe make an order, right? So you would create an order from a contract, which would then, schedule the deliveries and, all those kind of things. So they might be related. Contact roles. So on that opportunity are all the contacts that you're talking to. So, right, you create clarity. And again, all of them going to have activities associated with it. On that opportunity would be all the products that you're talking about that come from your product list that turn into assets, right? That are put on there through the contract from the opportunity, it creates a contract. Then from the contract, you create an order to actually deliver. And then that becomes their asset, which they're going to have problems with eventually, right? And all that's tracked through activities. I was looking for quotes, but I don't have quotes. But again, there's even more standard objects, right? There's even more standard objects we could add to this, but these are it's really let's see, the event and the task are really just activities. They go somewhere. Where those guys get connected? See how events are tied to all of them and tasks are tied to all of them? So that's where, again, Salesforce, if you don't, so I'm answering the same first question, right? What's in the Salesforce schema? This is the how you track data in the real world of sales. I wish I could make this more pleasant to look at, but this is the data you collect. This is why my buddy, the dinosaurs, they do everything off of leads. You're losing granularity that informs your reality, right? So all of those things can be built in Salesforce. So you could have all of this for an extra, $100 a month per person, or you could build all of it and save $100 a month per person. So what's the scenario? Is it worth it to you to rebuild something that's already working? Do you need to reinvent the car, or do you just buy one? Do you need to reinvent the stove, or just buy one? This is using the uniqueness of the human animal. That is leveraging what you know off of what other people know, learning from the earlier generations. Animals don't do that. So that's the first section, right? And then other people that build applications that do stuff that match your business are on the App Exchange. So why, build it before you buy it is really, buy it before you build it is usually the most economical way to go. I have a client last year that they just didn't want to, there's 6 customer service reps, and they pay them more than $10 an hour, but I promise you they spend more than 2 hours a month each copying and pasting FedEx tracking numbers from the FedEx site into Salesforce. Right? They're spending, and just at $10 an hour, they each spend more than 2 hours each. 6 people times $20. I'm sorry, they spend more than probably 2 hours a week each, so maybe 10 hours a month each. At $600 a month, buy the $300 a month app. Have all your
I've
shipping.
had conversations like this where I had to explain to a business owner the lost opportunity cost there is associated with having their staff work on stuff. So,
you muted yourself. You said yeah, the lost opportunity cost was the last thing you said.
Yeah, of having people work on stuff so repetitive.
Yeah. Why? That's one of the greatest gifts I've been given is the lack of tolerance for burning a calorie that I've already burned before. Like to do something that I've already done. And I used to first teach this with Outlook. And the Outlook, I don't know if you know this or not, but in Outlook, you've got a signature. You ever use your signature in Outlook? Or Gmail? You got a signature in Gmail?
I know what they are. I don't use
them.
them.
Right. So, all right. So when you're a person who emails people, Patrick, a lot, what you find is you end up saying the same thing over and over again. But in Outlook, you can literally, here, if I go to my, I'm going to switch. Go to my email. And look, I think I have, it built. In my Salesforce for Outlook, it annoys me to no end. Don't want you. It actually annoys me to no end that I don't have my Salesforce for out. Where's my Salesforce, man? It's supposed to be right there. There you are. No, Manny, I don't want that. So in my Salesforce for Outlook, what? There's them trying to hire me. So now I've got, so when I add, blah, blah, blah. So when I respond to somebody by email, there's this great little tool built in called Laura Brandenburg Sell Stuff. I got email templates. I could pick something that is going to be, let's see. So here's an Indeed consultant application. So somebody sends me an email, I can just insert a predefined text. You can do the same thing with Outlook signatures, what I'm saying. Is she even a contact yet? I don't think she's a real contact. I don't want to do this. Oh my God, I got so much junk I got to clean out. All right, so here, so if I have an odd email, I answer it. But if I got a standard email, you know, who am I adding to Salesforce? So I can add somebody as a lead or a contact, and when I reply to that email, I was looking for something. You can pick a template. Well, look, or you can have text shortcuts. All this stuff is built in if you just take the time to use it, and it's all free except for the time it takes to customize it. Anyway, so let's talk about. So, given a scenario, determine the appropriate data model. Well, that's a vague. It's such a vague, daggum question. But when we look at the data model, we're talking about what are the different objects, what are the fields, what are the relationships, right? And so we look at the data modeling module. You got to understand objects, fields, records, relationship. The R in CRM is what I showed you a second ago in the schema builder. It's the connectivity between this conversation and this SMART goal. It's all it's everything I need to manage my project. Right? It's the people, the partners, the products. Oh, good. I'm going to look at that guy, talent, or whatever. I can't say it now, but yeah, I'm going to look at that, Patrick, and model the shit out of it. And that might earn you your $2,500 slot in this course curriculum that we're doing for. Actually, it did, right? So that's how you became a consultant. I just haven't gotten you set up because it takes some steps that I don't have automated because I don't want to do it. So my first automation is, Patrick, you do it. That's going to be my first set of automation tools. All right. You do it. So, all right. So let's talk about data modeling. So understanding customer. So that's a vague thing, but what's the appropriate data model might be, do I create a custom field? Do I create a custom object? How am I relating those two objects together? Is it through a lookup? Like, there's only two ways to relate objects together. It's a lookup field. Basically, you're reusing the entire record by putting a link between one and another table of data or an object. And you need to know how to do that, right? So the various relationship types and implications of each on record access, user interface, and reporting. So describe the capabilities of the various relationship types and the implications of each on record access, user interface, and reporting. That's an interesting concept. So we know the relationship is either a lookup or a master detail. The lookup relationship is you have a person that you're talking to and you want to know the company they work for. On a lead, you put it on the same record. On an object, you know that there's more than one person. There's only one person on a business card, but at a company, there's more people in the directory. So now you want a list of each person, and you need to relate it to the same company name without retyping it every time, but also knowing that if you're at the company, you want to see a list of everybody that's there. So that's the challenge of like the lead object versus the related objects, right? The related objects are, I work with companies, because if you only work with consumers, you only really need the lead object, because the lead is the company and the person all in one, and I could sign a contract with that person, and then I could do business with them like the piano store does. So they don't need opportunities, products, blah, blah, blah. Now, data, let's see what they say. Data management. Let's see. That's moving data in and out. That's not what this. Describe the capabilities of various relationship types. Let's see where that's in a trail. Nope, that's not it. So one of the things you got to understand is if records aren't related to each other. Nope. Let's see. Leads and opportunities for lightning experience. Create and convert leads. Work your opportunities. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'm struggling with finding out what is the actual like source of material. So I would say, based on what's in this section, understanding that leads are a standalone record. It's the information you get on a business card. But in order to do business with them, you need to convert them to the objects of the account, contact, and opportunity, where you can gather more related information so that when you look at the account, you could see all the contacts that are there, right? You could see all the opportunities that are there. You could see all the assets of yours that they own. You could see the assets they own of your competitor if you track that too. Whatever you want to gather about that company, you need that relationship to other tables of data so that you can get that better information. That's the best I can figure. Well, actually, let me go back to this. Working your opportunities. Let's see what sell as a team and split the credit. Okay, so let's see. Work with your opportunities. Yeah, so opportunities, the stages, the people you're talking to, and let's see, those are resources for something else. You could also, let's see, would sell as a team. So opportunity selling actually says these are all the people. Let's say contact roles are all the people that are involved in the conversation on that opportunity, which, by the way, doesn't have to be. Let's say, for example, I know this isn't true, but Sally's secretary, is a person, but really, let's see if any contact roles are. Let's see, where am I? Are those my only contacts? Let's see. Yeah, that's a browser. That just didn't let me open it up right there in another tab. Edward Stamos. All right. That was weird. Let's say Edward Stamos is your lawyer. Let's see if I can add him to the conversation. Why would I add Edward? There. Well, because he works at Acme, and his role is your influencer. Like, he's a consultant, a lawyer, a consigliere to the Martin household. He's your, somebody that's involved in the conversation, but happens to be at a different company. But is it true that they're involved in this conversation, right? And then if we had, I don't think we have teams activated. No. But you could have your opportunity team, and all of those things, I would say, impact what they're trying to say is the capabilities of various relationships and the implications of each on record access, user interface, and reporting. So if I add somebody to an opportunity or an account team, they get access to the records because they can't own that record, but they are somehow responsible or accountable to it. It also says the user interface and reporting. Well, I mean, it just changes. It's such a weird outcome for what they have, and I'm trying to relate it all to the test. Various relationship types. So the only two relationships in Salesforce are lookup and master detail, and the only difference between what's that?
I think they're probably referring to something like if you have a master detail relationship, the owner of the child is the same as the master.
Not necessarily, but you determine the record access.
The owner of the child record in a master detail is always the same. It inherits the ownership of the master record.
Therefore, the access to that record. Is it always the case? I guess it could. Is it always the case?
Yes.
That's why the record access is controlled by the owner of the parent, because it's always the same owner. Okay, but you could, but somebody else could create the child. Would it automatically revert the ownership to the parent owner?
They need to have access to the master to create a child, don't they?
Well, I don't know. Here's my answer. I don't know. But what I could say is in the one master detail relationship that lives in the standard Salesforce is the opportunities on the account, because you can do a roll-up summary of opportunities to the account. You don't have to be the owner of the opportunity. Doesn't have to be the owner of the account. So that's why I want to disagree with you. Now that could be the exception, but I think in as our demo org, the job application would violate that rule, because the owner of the position and the owner of the candidate may not be the same person that creates the job application. That's why I would hesitate to accept your hypothesis or your assertion, I would say. Data modeling and management. Yes, it makes sense to identify the considerations when changing a field's type. When you change the type, you're changing how the data is stored in the object. Owner field. Where did you find that? In a help article?
Yeah.
Custom objects on the detail side of a master can't have sharing rules, manual sharing, or queues, as these require the owner field. Oh, okay. Well, I did. So the standard object is the exception because it's standard. It has hardwired privileges, whereas a custom object. All right, I'm okay with that. I didn't know. So maybe maybe the dingoes ate your baby. Let's see. Very job applications. I see an owner field of them. Maybe these aren't master details. Let's go see.
Well, it has an owner field, but you can't change it, can you?
Hold on. Just the one I'm in. I could change it because I'm the owner. But is it a master detail? Let's look at the job application.
One of
Not
those
a,
is a junction object, isn't it?
it is, which means it should have two master detail for position and candidate. But that's a lookup, not a master detail. You bastard.
Another piece that I think is related to that question that they're asking on that
Yep.
document is detail and sub-detail records inherit security settings and permissions from the master record. You can't set permissions on the detail record independently. So anyone who has access to the master record has access to the child records.
Right, because usually the the sharing is controlled by the parent in the OWD. So these are my custom objects. Let me just look and see. All right, so the review has a master detail to the job application. Aha! You're right, it doesn't have an owner. Created and last modified, but it does not have an owner. Interesting. Never really noticed it, you know? Cultural fit, 5, experience, 3, leadership skills, 4. Oh, we didn't create the field, the whatever it is. How'd I get all these jacked up page layouts like this? I hate them. Yeah, I think interesting. That's fascinating. All right, so identify the consideration change of fields type. You might lose data. Given a set of requirements, identify the considerations and select the appropriate field type. So that's really knowing what kind of data you're collecting. Describe the capabilities and considerations of the schema builder. Well, I showed you them, but what I didn't show you in the schema builder, do you know a lot about the schema builder?
Not really. I do like the interface for creating custom objects better, I think, but I don't use it very often.
So you know you can create from the schema builder.
Yes, I think I like it better than the point and click interface of the
Do you?
not the point and click, but the sort of quasi Microsoft Access layout of the regular object creator.
Yeah. So over here, elements, you can just drop an object on there and boom, you create an object. Right? That's pretty easy. From an object, let's say on our daggum opportunity, right? We could say, wait a minute, we need, you could look at the object itself, use page layouts. Hold on a second. Let me see. I can add a field to an object just like this. I can say, well, I need a text. I need a pick list.
This would have been an easy place to come to get the answer to that last question too,
How's that?
about the owner on the master detail relationship.
Oh, really? Oh, I guess so, right? Because the owner field wouldn't be there. It would just live there. So let's see. I want to create, yeah, I want to create a URL field on the contact. Whoops. Click contact, click URL. What do I call it? LinkedIn. All right. And now that contact is there. And then I can just as easily, can I copy that field? No, huh? Let's see something here. Where is it? Well, wouldn't it be great if I could copy that and bring it to, can't do that, but I could do it here on the lead. I could grab it and just put it on the lead object. LinkedIn. Uh, and I create another one right here on the company. We were talking about this yesterday, right? What are the two things you might want to have? LinkedIn.
I like this interface better because it's less clicking and less scrolling.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so much easier, right? So that's good. And then if you want to create a lookup, let's see. Can you create a master? Oh, creating a master detail. Cannot do the custom type field for the entity. Ah, see, that just tells you right away what you can do. Can't do it on, can't slab it. How does a formula field look? Oh. So you get, oh, nice. Very clean interface. I should show my classes this more often. What other fields do we need on the lead? Oh, we need on the opportunity, we need some fields, right? Da, 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 da. So maybe a bunch of pick list fields. How? I don't want a pick list for this. I don't even know what I need right now, but I like it a lot. Like this is the easy peasy way to do it. And you're already done and it's saved and it's on the, I don't know if it's, does it add it? Let's see if it adds it to the page layout.
I think it makes it available, but you need to add it to where you want it to be.
Of course it's available, but it's not on the page. It doesn't add it automatically to the page, right?
I could be wrong about that.
Nope. Doesn't look like you're wrong about it. Didn't add it.
I think that is one of the limitations that they're asking about in that question.
Yeah, it's just one of the considerations, right? But that's, listen, if you're going to create 10 fields much faster, then all you got to do is go to the header page. Like an idiot, I did my class. I could see there's the lead layout. I don't have all layout. There's only one layout. I could go to that page layout. And then I could put down all right. So now it'll be there. Sweet. What else? Let's see. Describe the options and considerations when importing and exporting data. Oh, well, that's data loader and data import wizard for importing data. Exporting data is only data loader or reports or the weekly or monthly back export, data export. External objects are used to store and manage data outside of Salesforce because it's an active system that's gathering, collecting, and updating that data anyway. So why bother bringing it in the Salesforce? Just bring in the updates. All right, well, that seems like that one's pretty easy. Security, let's go down to security. See what that means. Oh, we're not doing the exercise like we said, huh? Data modeling, pick list administration, duplicate management. We didn't cover those. Managing pick lists, either if you're managing the same values for more than one pick list field, use the global pick list value set. That way you're managing values once, not on many fields. So every field that uses those same values stays up to date. And the only consideration you have is when you're creating a pick list is, might I use these particular pick list values on another field in a different object? And if you are, create it in a pick list value set. Let's talk about security. So data security with point and click security tools. So data security, let's look at what that is. Okay, so this is the 4-quadrant. See if we can get the 4 boxes. This is a good picture. It's a good way to look at it too. Like, what objects should a user see? That's going to be controlled by their profile, right? The object permissions on their profile. What fields should they see or edit? That's going to be field level security, controlled by their profile. What record should be hidden? And that's going to be set in the organization-wide defaults. And the only place you can restrict access to records is in the OWD, the organization-wide defaults. And then how do you grant access to a record that's been hidden or restricted to read only? And that is with the role hierarchy, where all the owners' access rolls up the chain. Sharing rules share between groups of records to groups of users. And manual or team sharing shares selected or individual records with selected or individuals. Where's that? That's the picture of that. I got 25 points on that one. That's exciting. So that's the overview they're talking about. Controlling access to the org. See what this one is. So it has to do with whether or not a user has a license. So they've got a license. They've got a profile and a role. They've got an email and a username. These are the required fields, right? Deactivating a user frees up a license. Let's see, password policies, control it, trusted IP. So password policies are by profile or by organization, by default. But you could set them differently for profiles. You could set up trusted IP ranges for your entire org so that it's like an easy pass. They don't need a cookie to act or an activated browser. On the profile, you can limit the IP addresses that they can enter on. It can be the same IP addresses that are trusted for everybody else, but you could also limit those to profiles so that they can, not only is it trusted, but it's the only ones that can come in from. You can do it by time. That's interesting. So let's see that one. The objects, the fields, the records, role hierarchy, and sharing rules. Okay, all of that makes sense for that piece of the puzzle. So that's security. Only 10% should get more of that. Now let's see. Now for business logic and process automation, we talked about record types. Here's why you want to use record types. You've discovered that an object that you collect records in, like accounts, you have different types of companies that you treat as accounts. Some are prospect, some are customers, some are vendors, some are partners, some are competitors. And you want to show those record pages to the same profile with a different page layout, or use different pick list values without creating new fields. So from the same pick list field, you want to show it's like a field dependency, but with a vendor record type on the type field, type pick list, I only need to see vendor, right? Or I might want to see current vendor, former vendor, future vendor as my pick list values, but I don't need those three pick list values for that field on my customer or prospect or partner, right?
This is actually part of what I need to do for that demo.
What, show record types and why?
Well, they said to keep track of like contacts, the different type of contacts, competitors, partners,
Right.
leads, etc.
So that's what record types are great for, right? Because you're saying, remember, the account object reflects that it's a company, right? So what kinds of companies are in the world? Those you're trying to sell, those you buy from, those you use as a partner, right? And then those that are doing the same thing with your prospects and customers. So you could treat, you don't like, so this is where people don't use the lead object in order to limit duplication and confusion. They'll treat all of their business as accounts contacts before they create an opportunity, yet they'll say that this account is a prospect account. I'm trying to define whether or not we can do business with them. And so there's a qualification process that they use, or a pick list field that demonstrates a process that might only be relevant if they're not yet buying from you. Therefore, you could create a record type to limit those pick list fields, like a big controlling pick list for all the other pick list fields on that record, from that object. And then, so that's what record types for. So they allow you to customize. Here's the big kicker: customize page layouts and pick list values for users of the same profile. Now, I know the pick list values don't necessarily apply to the profile, but the page layouts do. So when you want to see, when the same profile needs to see two different page layouts for the same object, the only way to show that is with record types. The only way one profile can get access, right? And then each page layout, again, a page layout allows you to customize the fields that are required, or you can make a field read only without having to adjust the profiles, field level security. So you're putting up like a shield, a field level shield, instead of field level security. The shield of read only, the sword of required, depending on which users in that profile are interacting, or a different profile, or interacting with that type of record. So it really extends the flexibility to reuse the standard objects, more specifically for the way you want to treat that type of record. Formula fields do math. They calculate, they contribute, they can display information from another object that's related so that you don't have to click and refresh, right? Let's say you have a primary contact at an account, like they are the PO manager, the purchasing manager. So anytime you have a yeah. So when you're at the account record, some people at the account record, when they're looking at the account record, they need to just talk to the purchasing manager, right? So if you create a page layout for, let's say, accounts receivable or your accounts payable or whatever that is, then, you know, you could create a page layout and have a formula field that shows that contact listed as the purchasing director display on their page layout for that record type or that page layout for that profile that's assigned to. So formula fields allow you to do lots of different things without re-entering data. So it calculates and displays data from the same or other objects so that it makes it easier for your users to interact with. Roll-up summary fields. So the implication of a roll-up summary field is it has to be on the parent reflecting the children in a master detail relationship. So the roll-up summary rolls up to the master a summary, an average, a minimum, or a max of the detail records. And how that works, and it actually what's that?
Not average.
Oh, min, max, sum, or average. There's an average.
Not average. We went over this before.
Did we?
Sum, min, max, and I can't remember the fourth one. Total, it's like quantity or something. I forget.
Hang on a second.
This is how they will trick you on a question. They'll ask about the average.
Count is the one it'll do. So how many reviews? What's the total of the reviews?
Right. Count is just how many objects there are.
Right. How many children there
records,
are.
I mean.
Yeah, how many records there are, or what the total of that field that you're looking for. What's the minimum number, but each one, blah. Got it. So you could, all right, got it. Good. Sum, min, max, count. I know there was 4, but yeah, so that's perfect.
Average is like a knee jerk. You just say it.
Yeah, right. No, I get it, but it's wrong. But it's min, max, sum, or count. Count of records, total of the numbers on that record. So whatever that is, right? The implications of roll-up summary fields is they store the data. Every time a child record is saved, part of the order of execution of a child when there is a master detail relationship and the child's record is saved, one of the processes in the execution is update the parent on any roll-up summary fields. So it looks to the parent, sees if there's any roll-up summary fields, calculates the change, and updates the change in that field. It also requires, like I said, the master detail. It's only sum, min, max, or count. And you use it to do just that. I want to count how many reviews I've got on this. And when that number gets to 4 reviews, then I want to initiate the next process. So whatever your rules are, and by the way, I can tell you that there are some here's where you can find organizational problems by identifying the leader characteristics in the real world to see if you can actually map this stuff to data, right? If certain leaders don't if some leaders don't like confronting the facts, right, or don't like following the rules, you're gonna have trouble with this. But this is like, again, a great way to map how your business does business. You can bring it back to automation. Validation rules are data that you use those to prevent data outside the lines, again, of what you say each field should, the range of data that that field should accept. So a discount field should not go over 20%. Your validation rule would say discount percentage greater than 20%. And any other conditions. And so you got to build the rule to stop bad data. So anything that meets the criteria of the rule is bad data. That'll trigger the stop action and therefore communicate the message to the user, nay, nay. You can't put, these are the parameters. So it's guardrails for your data. The approval process is anytime you need someone else to approve any record outside that scope, maybe of the validation rule, which it's in the boundaries of the validation rule, but it's at a different range. So now, if the discount is over 20%, it's an automatic no, we just don't do that, right? But if it's between 10 and 20%, that needs approval. That's one scope, right? So you want to enter the record when it meets the criteria to need a field to be approved. You could do that through Process Builder. Then you can have a process of which you approve, and it might be under 10% is automatically approved, over 10%, 10% and over goes to the approval process. And the first step might be, well, if it's not 15%, it only has to go through the one step. If it's over 15%, then it's got to go through the first and the second step. And then you decide, well, if the first step person rejects it, do you send it back to the submitter, or do you just let them know that's their opinion and you move it to the second stepper, right? Because the first step rejection might be, let's say in this example, over 10 and greater needs a manager approval. 15 and greater needs a director approval. So it's a 15% discount they want. The manager rejects it, but still sends it on to the VP, because if the VP rejects it, then it might send it back to the manager, who then can change it to 10%, or the VP might change it to 10%, which then goes back to the manager to then approve the range that they can approve. Like, I'm sorry, 15%. So they ask for 20. The VP rejects it. The manager rejects it. It goes to the VP. The VP rejects it, but sends it back at 16%, which was greater or adjust it, right? So they might, they send it back to the manager and say, I'll approve, just give them 15%, which the manager can then approve and then send back. So you can follow whatever rules and whatever process you need to keep the right people informed of the right decisions that are being made. And, it's also part of the education process. So it's guided guardrails. So you're taking them through. So the use cases are approving out of, or managing the range of something that the validation rule itself can't handle, right? So you're managing a range of values, or it's just part of your process. Like in the radio station, the sales manager approved the deal based on what their rules are, but then it had to go to what's called the traffic manager. So the traffic manager said, okay, well, this advertising you sold, do I even have space for it? Like, can we provide it if we say yes? That's a different kind of approval. Then the business manager goes and takes a look at everything and say, okay, the sales manager said that this is a qualified sale. It fits the parameters that sales wants. Production says they can produce it. Now I got to see, is it worth it for us to do all that work, right? Is it worth it for us to schedule all the, create, schedule all of the pieces add up correctly, right? The manager said, we charge for advertising and we added the thing we said we want. We didn't have the thing we said we didn't want. Traffic, we can produce it. Now the business manager says, is it viable? Once all that's approved, then it goes back to the customer to say, okay, we say yes. So give me the money. So then accounts receivable can say, give me the right money, or they can collect the amount they need to collect. And it follows the next stage in the process. So all of these things happen in the real world almost all the time. So that's a great use case. Anytime you want to make sure that something doesn't fall through the crack of your guidelines, internal and external, for all the different impacted groups in your organization. Now, the use case and capabilities of workflow, flow, and process builder are all about automation. Workflow is the original automation tool that says, if a record meets this criteria, because true results result in action, true triggers action, then do this action. Workflow is limited to those 4 actions: create a task, update a field, send an email alert, or an outbound message. And an outbound message is a computer-to-computer message. An email can go in and out, and a task can only be assigned to one user. And I always like to remind people of this. If you're assigning the task to a role, and it doesn't matter if it's a role in the hierarchy, a role on an account team, opportunity team, or case team, because those are the only 4 roles it could look at. If there's more than one user in the role for a workflow rule, then either the admin put more than one user in the role hierarchy, and they're to blame, or the user, or they put more than one person on the case team role, or the user put more than one person on the opportunity or account team role, depending on what record it is and which role you're identifying. If there's more than one user to have a task assigned to it, Salesforce can't decide. It always assigns the task to the owner of the record that triggered the rule. Why? Because that person should know where that task should go. They can reassign that task manually because Salesforce can't choose. So I always put that in there. Now, Process Builder is a little more robust in that the use cases for Process Builder on the test will always reflect either another process, a flow, an approval process, or a chatter post. Why do I say that? Because those are unique, really most unique to the most unique action Process Builder takes is chatter post. And again, Salesforce has been selling chatter for 7 years. So anytime they can identify a use case to use chatter, Process Builder is their golden child. You want to automatically update, blah, 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 let them know, and it's da-da-da-da-da. Here's a great reason for chatter. Here's a great reason for Process Builder, a chatter. And chatter works best in Lightning, just so you know. Flow is when you actually want to guide the collection of data most often, or trigger a decision model and make changes to one or more records at a time. So the most common way to think of flow is when I'm collecting information for a new consultant who's applying to be a sales and technology consultant representative, right? So Patrick, you're coming in. I want to gather indirect information to know whether, right, whether I should whether your needs dictate the certification path, the sales path, or the combination consultant path, where you're going to sell them on stuff you're going to do for them that you need certifications for, right? There could be one of three choices. So I'm going to ask particular questions in particular ways, and I want to gather that data in that order because I've found it's a better conversation for you, the prospect, and me for the outcome that I'm looking to get to know what to send you after this call. I might have a 15-minute call with every applicant that says, let me ask you a few questions and get to know you, and, get to see your face and see if you are customer facing potential or not, right? That's by the way, that's why voicemail was invented, and that's why once voicemail was invented, standalone voicemails, customer service and telemarketing companies would have you leave a voicemail application. First step is leave us your name and number and 3 things we should know about you and why you should, we should interview you. And if they leave a voicemail like, well, let's see. Oh, wait, you need to know not that application you can mark for just send them to the rabbit hole every chance, right? If they leave a very articulate, they sound like your brand, they're engaging, they're quick, like whatever those qualities are of a voice, boom. So that's what you could also do with a flow, right? You could guide and direct the conversation to the right outcome, but it's a walk with me conversation, and other things that it does automatically, like updating multiple records or finding a record and doing this and doing that, blah blah blah. So a flow can be manual or automatic. Yeah, go ahead.
Flow is the only one of those 3 that can delete records too.
That's true. Flow is the only one that can delete a record. Workflow is old and it's limited, but God, I saw my last client. These knuckleheads at their consulting firm, instead of using the case assignment rule for a service implementation, they use workflow rules. I'm like, all right. I guess that's a good decision. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it is. I don't know. So I think we've talked about that, right? So given a set of requirements, recommend a solution to automate a business process. Well, that's going to be you paying attention to these conversations and thinking they're great. Let's see. Do we have any live chat? Top chat, live chat. No chat. No bit. Nobody's even watching but me. Is anything even there? Oh, I'm not even watching myself. So funny. It's all good. I like to have that one watcher, so I know it's, like I like to be the one watcher so that at least I got a watcher. Let's see. So what do you want to automate? Whatever you are having people do repetitively is what you want to automate. Whatever you need people to do consistently, you want to automate. Whatever people do where you already know the choices they should make, you want to automate. If you've already collected the data that you need to create or update the data you want, automate it. Automate it. Why? Because why let more than one human be involved in that? The less humans involved with data, the more accurate it can become. Right? Let's see. Describe the ramification of field updates and the potential for recursion. All right. So I think they're talking about recursion as it relates to Process Builder and Flow.
I think they're talking about workflows, really. If you have a workflow that updates a field, and then there's another workflow that's triggered by that field update, you can end up in a loop.
You could end up in a loop. You could end up in a crash. And we learned yesterday, right, Patrick, that if you don't click the right box on the approval process, which is field updates is one of the actions, you won't trigger other workflow that needs that updated field to move forward, right? To fit a criteria and move forward. So it's all connected. That's what the R is. So that's good. That's all good. I think that's pretty good. That's a big chunk of the test, though. And while we didn't look at that piece of the page here real quick and see if there's any stuff we talked about. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, there's
And they talk about,
two sections that are worth 27% each.
right. So formulas and validation rules. Oh, there's a formula cheat sheet. Let me see that. I'm going to open that in a new incognito window. Oh, there it is. There's the cheat sheet.
That is a significant cheat sheet.
It just basically does what the screen does. It doesn't show the formula, though. It doesn't show the template of the formula, which I think is odd. You know? Like, why is that?
Yeah, there's no examples.
Right. Well, let's see.
But I guess this would be good to print out and stick on your cubicle wall
Do you have a cube?
for those that still have those.
Wow, you get records. I didn't know. All right, now these two tend to show up on the test. Parent group val and prev group val. I do know that. You remember that from the test? It might be on the advanced admin test, which is why I hate it, because I didn't get it right, I'm sure. This is a summary function that returns the value of the selected summary field from the parent grouping level that you specify. A summary function that returns the value of the selected summary field from the parent grouping level that you specify. So if you are sorting opportunities by owner, right? That's a grouping. It's a parent grouping. But you want the parent group value of all of the amounts. So I got all your opportunities, but I only want I don't want to summarize. I don't want to clog up my report. I just want to show I have a calculation where I want to, let's say I want to calculate each stage has a different probability, right? And an amount of open opportunities. And I want to create a formula. I guess this will do it to say for this owner, what's the expected revenue formula based upon the total amount of each opportunity multiplied by its probability added together. So let's say I had 10 opportunities, all for 100,000 each. That's what is that? $1 million, right? But one's at 10%, one's at 20, one's at 30, one's at 40, one's at 50, one's at 60, one's at 70. Oh, thank you very much. You're gonna head out now? Awesome. Enjoy. If you find anything cool, take a picture, let me know. I'll have this close by. And I'm gonna just keep chatting with Patrick for a little while, and then we'll be done. When you get back, I'll be done. Thank you. Love you, honey.
If you want to get going, it's cool.
No, I like what we're doing here. I think this is valuable for anybody who wants to watch ever. Explaining these different pieces and parts is good prep. You need something?
No worries, Patrick. I get a lot more done when he's here anyway. Thank you for your
Divide and conquer. You need any money, honey? Okay, great. All right, cool.
Thank you.
I'll put that in the husband lessons. Hey, baby, here's some money. Take that with you. All right. So anyway, so I want to add up all those adjusted totals, right? Without creating another column formula, something like a summary formula anyway, it's like, but it's something, I get, so that's what it is. So I want
I
to,
think it sounds like it's basically like your row sorting on the report.
the row level, yeah, instead of creating a row level formula, this is an older function. So a row level formula would do just that. It might say blah, 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 blah. And look, there's guys who do really good math. And I can tell you, they could create a better formula. I could think of a formula that I could not fulfill all the time. But these guys, I know there's people out there who can do it. All right.
If I remember right, there were really only like 2 questions about formulas on the test that I took.
Yeah.
One of them was basically, which of these 2 options will result are a valid way of displaying like a traffic light. And basically all 4 options looked almost identical, but you have to somehow remember like the exact syntax
Right.
of typing out an image. There was basically 2 questions like that.
Now this is a process. I got you. It's a process automation cheat sheet. So what I want to automate a process that requires someone to approve or reject a record, determines what to do when a record is updated or created, guides a user through a series of screens. Okay, well, approval process, workflow or process builder, and flow, right? Does the process follow this pattern? If this, then that. Yes, then process builder. No, I need a more complex logic, then process builder plus flow, or just flow maybe.
And I think this is what kind of screwed me up on the test. So like you look at this cheat sheet.
Yeah.
The only mention they have of workflow is like an afterthought in a parentheses. But on the test, there's like all kinds of questions where workflow is one of the options. So it's like I don't know which mind reading they want me to use. Like, should I default to process builder because that's the tool they prefer, or should I default to workflow because that's the most simple method to finish it?
All depends on what you want to do and how many of those things you've already used. So I'll put it this way. This is a good one, right? Let's look deeper, right? I'm looking at the doc. I'm reading the document. Workflow rules operate as individual if-then processes that can automate a subset of the actions available in Process Builder. Process Builder is a point-and-click design to let you automate multiple rules, sets of criteria and actions in a single process. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. When we're in the Process Builder, you asked me, like, I think depending, like, as a matter of the way Process Builder works, it really is designed to be one process per object. So, and maybe 2. Like I would argue that the sales ops engineer or administrator or applications developer, however you want to describe it, right? You working with sales ops and all of the objects that you're going to work on and automate, right? To try to get that automated. I would argue that there would only be 2 processes per object.
I think that's all you can have.
Well, no, I don't know. Is there a process limitation? Let's ask Uncle Google. Look at that.
Okay, well, this says 50 active processes.
Correct. Per workflow, right? Is that workflow?
Because I think when I tried to create another one yesterday, it wouldn't let me.
So let's see. All right. this guy at lane 4 in March of 2020, prior to the shutdown, said you should have only one process builder per Salesforce object. That's the right approach. And I kind of agree with him. I would say, let's see what the best practice from Salesforce are. By the way, Essentials, $25 a month, you can have Process Builder. That's pretty awesome. Now you can only have 5 processes total, or 10 or something like that. And Trail Tracker will eat up all of them, so you got to go deactivate it. If you install Trail Tracker, good luck getting rid of it. Yeah. This is a really good doc. Like a good thing because it applies to every customer. But what I would say is I get the ideal. I get the ideal of one process per object. That consolidates all the changes you're making for that object, and it makes sure you can see everything in one place, and you can reorganize the steps in each criteria, and that's good. So you make sure that one process is done before you evaluate for another, or that criteria is changed so that it'll pass through that process and go on, or it doesn't. Like, you got to decide if you're a filter or a pyramid, and what's the impact of your processes either way, right? So the pyramid is the least likely process would hit. A filter would be the most likely hits, but then whatever that change is it would evaluate to the next criteria once it hits and validate. So it's kind of, it's a little bit of that art and science, right? You got to understand what Process Builder does. Now, I would say if you were going to have more than one process per object, there would be just 2 would be your limit. And why I would say 2 is because you might have one. Well, really, you'd have 2 to 4. And here's why. I would say that you would have a process for an object because you've got 4 options. So if you're creating a process for an object when a platform event is received and you want to keep that separate because you're doing something else and like you're going to use platform events for that object, you're going to use other processes to trigger these processes, so you keep them separated. You might have different groups of processes, maybe. Or it's coming from like for example, and this is not every object, but this might be, or could be the same object, like for an opportunity. Once an order is complete and you've got a contract, and then the contract end date, that contract end date, that finishing that process a certain way might trigger the cloning of a new opportunity, right? When that happens, when you get to this and they renew or do something else, or they do something on another object that says, oh, you should create a new opportunity, then I might invoke, for my opportunity object, I might be, what are the things that would invoke me on the opportunity object, right? They reneged on a contract, and so I want to go, or they paid their contract, or lots of different things that other transactions may tell you. Or
when you can run into the issue that workflow rules has, where if you're not certain which order these things will fire in.
Right. Or you want to control the actions, correct?
Process builders.
So, but when you're adding the object, here's why you have two processes for the object. So remember, there's three triggers to process, and there's two conditions when it's a record changes. Is it just when it's created or when it's created and edited? So if there's several choices you would make and different processes, you might start with when it's created, only when that record is created. Here's the challenge with that. All of those processes that you now create, each criteria, it's going to be limited by just when the record is created, which is fine, depending on the object. But created and edited, might be the other reason to have two. And I would say if you're going to think about it simplistically, you'd have two. They say the best case is one, but I can argue for two, depending on the object, created and edited, right?
I think if I were faced with a situation where I was considering adding additional process builders, I would probably consider using Flow instead.
Well, it depends, right? It just depends on what you're trying to do each time and how many you can manage and how many you have and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm just saying, given what they just said on here, the best practice is here's a productivity tip, to touch it once. So when the object is either created or edited, you have all your created criteria up top, and then all your editing criteria below that, and you're covered. Now, you might even have actions that would trigger other processes, or you might need to create a process. See, I never actually tried, by the way, to create a process when it's invoked by another process. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, so it's just going to be that object and then the criteria. Okay. So it's different. It's you just pick the object you're going to work on, because other objects kicking off a process would kick this off. So I might have just a set of those for that object. So I know any of these processes run, it's because something else triggered it. I might do that. So it's two, let's see, view all processes. And then the other one is when a platform event is received. I've never tried them, so I'm going to just give it a shot. The trigger might be, all right, there are my triggers. Batch error platform, Apex error, consent change standard event, batch Apex error platform event, flow execution error event, platform status alert event, process exception event. All right, so these are all basically errors or different events. I thought it would be something else. Platform process exception, platform status alert. Like, see, an email message to me, I've been explaining it wrong. An email message is
I don't know, maybe if someone is messing with some record that you don't want them to be messing with, this will email you or the manager or something.
No, this is saying when you send an email, once they open it, if you get that open message, what do you want to do? So this is how you handle, this is basically making your own marketing cloud, right? What's the criteria? The criteria is the object field, the email message ID, . bounced. And that's true. So if it's bounced, take this action. And then boom, you got that. If it's not bounced, so again, a platform event could have happened. Let's see, what is it? I don't know. I don't deal with all these. So I don't know what they all are. But I want to say event identifier equals. Oh, funny. All right, cool. So again, I get that now. So yeah, I mean, I might. Those are, you know, when one is not enough, 4 would be the max. That's what I would say. All right, where are we at now? So that was business logic. All right, let's do social. Social features. Which automation tool do I use? Let me open that bad boy. Mark is complete. Mark is complete. All right, so this is saying how a record gets approved. To do when a record has certain values. It's a good little. It's a good little help document right here. Am I not? I haven't even got that super badge yet. Am I? Yeah, I did. All right. I haven't gotten my super badge yet. Come on, I just did that one. Yeah. Let's see what else. Flows automate virtual any process. I guess flow is the backup before you have to do Apex, right? Social, what's on social? Oh, chatter administration for Lightning Experience. Okay. So I guess they're calling that social. So it's going to be a chatter question.
Chatter and then YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah. So work with chatter groups, feed tracking, approve records, and develop a rollout strategy. That's where the question usually comes. Hey, you want to roll out to a limited number of people. There is a permission set that's default with standard profiles, but you might want to take off your custom profiles, the chatter user or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Chatter enabled permission. User interface. All right, that's the Lightning app builder. Lightning Experience Specials, haven't done that either. I've completed that one. All right, no, not that. Reporting, obviously, you got to know report stuff. Do that. Do this super badge. Woo! Mobile. I know what they ask stuff about mobile is. What can you change? What do you need to change to make mobile work? You don't need to do anything to make mobile work, but you can change the menu order, the field order on the page layout, and then the action buttons along the top, the publisher layout you can change as well. App deployment. So that's building an app. I still don't have that badge done yet. Additional prep. Study for the platform builder exam. Take the course. Let's see what that trail looks like. Study for that. So this is a good one to follow through with. Certification prep. Let's see. Preparing for the exam. This is everything we just covered. Download the guides. Exam, maintain what this course covers. Oh, let's see if we can answer. I haven't taken it yet, right? I like taking the test before just to see what I got. Which 2 exam sections are weighted at 5%? I'm going to say that's mobile and social. And then here's what I can go. Then I go check, right? Reporting in mobile. See? I see how good I got. This is my little practice test, by the way. So then I go back. I look at first, because now I know what I'm looking for. And
Yeah,
then
I mean, these questions just ask you about the weight of each.
No, I
subject.
understand. That's important. What area of the exam is weighted highest? I think that's business logic.
Yes.
Yep. And then that's it. It's only, yeah. So that's what they really want to make sure you know. And it's irrelevant because you got to know all of it to pass the test. All right, let me tackle the next unit. Capabilities core. Oh, let's look at the key topics. The Salesforce fundamental section makes up what percentage of the platform app builder exam?
8.
How do you know that?
Because I read the screen.
But no, where in the screen? Oh, there it is, right there. What key topics are covered in the Salesforce fundamental section of the platform app builder exam? Salesforce
A.
standard objects, declarative development use cases, app exchange apps. Yeah, I remember that from the other question we had, right? Is that right? Yeah, we're going for it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're wrong.
Oh,
Standard, programmatic, and app exchange. What did we pick? Standard, oh yeah, standard objects, programmatic use cases, and app exchange. So everything before you get to your job, what you shouldn't do yourself, like what the standards do, because it already does it. You shouldn't rebuild that. You shouldn't try to do declaratively what programmatic use cases need, and app exchange apps. All right, let's tackle the next unit. Have you taken this one, by the way? Are you taking it?
yeah.
So what is this? Determine the appropriate study up on management. The data modeling and management section makes up how much? What do you think?
24.
Data modeling, 24?
20. 20.
Yep, there it is, 20%. Key topics would be, let's see,
C.
I'm going to say that's C as well. Capabilities, determine appropriate data model, relationships, consider exchanging field type. Now, this is, we went through this already in that trail here, right? We're looking at this another way, which is, by the way, I'm not for nothing how you got to study with Salesforce. Like you got to keep doing. Did I do 20 right? 20 right? Wow. So this one's going to be 10%, because it's going to ask. Restricting and extending object record field access, determining appropriate sharing. So this is the admin. What was that 10% I just said? I just said it. Yep. Yep, that's right. So restricting and extending the object, that is CRED, role hierarchy, sharing rules, OWD, all that stuff, right? Voila.
14.
Refresh on user, interface customization of options, custom buttons, links, and actions, record types, components, UI best practices. Okay, cool. 14. There it is. Knowing, yay. Now let me get some credit for this on the tubes of you, or rather the tweets of Twitter.
Sure, you want to advertise that one?
Why? Why not?
You're supposed to be teaching the course, so you should already have it.
I'm teaching. Hey, I complete whatever I complete.
Well, don't worry, I don't use Twitter, so I can't go on there and troll you.
That's right. Whatever, man. People could just kiss mine.
Oh, thanks for the hashtag.
Right. I got 60 more days of these posts, man. I'm trying to, blah. Get it out there, man. Hashtag teaching Patrick. Oh no, teaching PAB. Hashtag I'm getting my Ranger badge, man. I'm gonna have 300 damn tweets. Well, really, right? For every new badge that I get, I'm gonna get me a tweet. And so I got at least now I got 286 badges. So 14 to go in 2 days. That's what I want to do. Tomorrow I'm just gonna do badges. All right, so that's like,
Well, I didn't think I'd do 3 hours, but here we are.
look at that. I didn't think it. Wow, can't believe we did that long either. So let's see. Did I study? Did I get that done? I got it done, didn't I? Talking about it's going to update that in a second, otherwise I'm going to be mad. So let's see. I'm still missing. Most of what I'm missing is a super badge. Ugh. How much do I need for that one? Anyway, all these are good. Like, these are all good things. So look at me. See if I got all the prereqs. Urgh. I love it. This might be my next one.
Can you show me the challenges? Go down to the bottom.
Take the sales path quiz. Provide
There's
in-depth guidance. This
a
is
super
great.
badge that involves importing legacy data, and it really sucks.
This one does?
I don't remember if it's this one. Yep.
Yeah.
Challenge number 7.
You've done this one then?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that offline.
Oh yeah, you got to get the data from here. Is it bad? What's so bad about it?
We can talk about it not on recording.
Got it. All right. Well, guess what? I'm going to put that on the bar. So Oh, I got to do this one. I'm 40% done with this one. I think, have I done any of this one? Oh, yeah, this one I'm working on right now. I have a whole bunch of tabs open. This is what I'm going to finish before, I'm done with this little prep. I'm going to go over tomorrow and Monday. I'm going to do a little bit of time just going through the presentation again and hitting some highlights of areas that I think I could do better at. And do a Q&A on, well, actually, I think I have scheduled Mondays a Q&A for this. So any questions you have about the Platform App Builder content or just, the Platform App Builder exercises or the Platform App Builder trails, Monday is just a wide open day, kind of like this conversation Patrick and I have had today. Feel free to join us, like, subscribe to the channel, damn it. I need a better name, and I haven't started marketing it yet because the name sucks. So you're my people to do that. So Lightning Experience is going to come later. App customization is going to come first. And then what else am I missing? Lightning Experience. Oh, a process automation specialist.
What is the name of the channel now? How can we find it on YouTube?
The name of the channel now is Garbly-Gook. It's Sales and Tech. It's youtube.com channel UCD.
Oh yeah, not very helpful.
Not very good, but I need 100 people to subscribe till I get to that. And then then you're going to lose access to all of this cool stuff. Because now, once I got that, then we're going to get rid of all these other crazy videos. So the playlist that exists right now, in my playlist, or some of these
If anyone is listening to this video somewhere not on YouTube right now, they can find the channel by searching for Sales and Technology Consultants.
That's right, you can. But I can't figure out if I have any discussion. "11 years ago, Richard Benson commented, and I'm now taking out the only comment that I had."
You might be better off starting a new channel.
No. Why? I just got to clean up all this junk. Why?
Because of the algorithm based on like non-performing or whatever. I don't know.
I'm going to give it a minute. I agree with you, but I'm not changing it just yet. So I've gotten 0 subscribers in the last 30 days. Wow. I'm sucking at this channel for sure.
Well, you should definitely hide the 7 and 10-year-old videos.
These?
Yes.
Why hide them? They're hurting my stats.
Well, they're 10 years old and they're not really related to what you're doing now.
That is, well, some of them are.
Okay, but they're 10 years old.
I know. I agree with you. Except the ones. Yeah, some of them are. I agree. Like that one's 13 years old, but it's gotten the most views.
Well, like the first thing that people see when they come on the page is my vlog, and those are all old.
How do I change that? How do I make it different? Customize the channel. Let me see.
You can probably turn the recording off at this point.
Yeah, I think we're done with Platform App Builder, right? Thank you, everybody, for being here. Anybody that shows up, please subscribe to the channel. You see we need the help, right? All right. Thank you.